it's a path out of the very severe problems we're facing now. It still hasn't really broken on public consciousness just how severe the situation is with climate change. There's an element of feeling so frightened that what we have to do is so huge. But what we can do here, what our message and makes us so important, I think, is that we can say, this is how we can do it. It's not that difficult. It's doable in our lifetimes. It's doable in the next 20 years if we can get the will to do it and remove the obstacles. Well, the Centre for Alternative Technology does many things. For most of its life, the centre of it has been a display centre which demonstrates different areas of sustainable living. So we have our own small-scale renewable energy systems, we have small-scale horticulture, going all the way from what you can do with a small urban back garden to actually an entire field. There's a lot of biological research that's happened here with composting and sewage management. Another strand of what CAT's done and displays to people has been up to do with ecological building, green building techniques, alternative building techniques, all of these things, all in one place.
What we have to do is begin to dig into a positive future. Because at the moment, if you think about the ways contemporary society projects the future, it's ecological collapse and dystopia. We're not projecting any sort of positive future. And if we can't imagine a positive future, we won't create it. So what we want to do is to create little glimpses of a positive future here that people can come and experience and think, yeah, we can do this, and give people little tests and trials of things that they perhaps wouldn't normally have access to. So it's bringing that positive vision to life.
This is our reservoir, and it really is where everything begins for CAT. It was the reservoir for the old slate quarry that was here before we were, and almost everything we do depends on this. In fact, locating the site where it is was because we found this site with a reservoir. As the water goes down the hill, we use it for loads of things. We use it for our turbines. We have 2 turbines. A lot of our horticulture. We have a fully fledged reed bed sewage system, so we use it for that. And also, of course, to run the Cliff Railway. But we really are just using it on its journey from the hillsides on its way down to the river. So it's a tiny bit of the water cycle. We're using it as efficiently as we possibly can. Well, we live in a little Walter Seagull house. It's an interesting construction because Walter Siegel was quite a visionary architect, and he resented, I think, the expertise and exclusiveness of building an architecture. He wanted to find a way of building which was accessible to everybody. So a Seagull House is a timber frame house, but the timber frames are very simple in construction. There's no complicated carpentry or joinery going on. Everything's just bolted together. In the early days, for example, when we tried to start growing all our own food, the quality of the soil, as you'll see around here, is very poor. And on site, it was almost non-existent because it was an old slate quarry. So we needed lots of compost, and so we actually developed a human sewage composting system, which we still run today. And it's quite scientific because human sewage is a very risky thing to use. It's full of pathogens which are quite harmful to us. So we actually compost this stuff for about 2 to 2.5 years to make sure that it is absolutely free of any harmful pathogens. We actually measure the temperature of the composting bunkers in which this process is happening to make sure it gets hot enough to destroy any bugs that might be harmful to people. What we're looking at the moment at CAT, which I think is particularly important, is the role of biofuels. We're really concentrating on upgrading our whole site heating systems. And when we're doing that, we're going to be starting to run some very large biofuel boilers and starting to look at the way we heat the buildings and measuring the performances of all of those things. Now, this is an important point because most people take it for granted in the UK that when they want heat, they turn on the gas. And we can't go on doing that without fracking every last ounce of it out of the ground. And if we do that, we blow any chances of hitting any net zero targets. So we have to look at other ways of heating our buildings. It has big implications because if we do it successfully in the UK, then, for example, all the land we see around here, which is sheep farming, would have to be turned back to forestry. So that has a huge impact on the way we live in this country.
We have to begin thinking about reducing the amount of energy we need to live our lives, because if we look at the graph of energy per head, per human being, over time, for the past 150 years, it's just gone up and up and up and up and up and up, till we're using far more energy than we actually need. We're wasting loads of energy with stuff that doesn't last, with food that gets thrown away, with journeys that are unnecessary, heating badly insulated houses. We need a super energy efficient, energy lean Britain that can reduce by 50-60% the amount of energy it needs, but still give us everything we need by using it smartly. Once we've done that, we can begin to think about getting that 50% from the renewable energies, the clean energies that just hit Britain for free every year. What we tried to do was minimise the lifestyle impacts to make it as easy and familiar as possible.
Well, I would say our main goal is to be part of a whole array of organisations and individuals who are trying to move us now to a post-carbon society and to do it as quickly as possible. Because we are a few minutes from midnight and we really need to do a lot of decarbonisation very fast. Our message, with our years of experience, is that it is doable. That is, that we have all the technology now. What we need is the will to change. I am actually optimistic in the long term. In the short term, it's all a bit bleak at the moment, particularly with our current administration. But they won't be there forever, and the overall way things are developing is, I think, very positive in that the way people are thinking is changing. So hang on in there is what I say. It'll come round.